thorns, the most poisonous on Earth.
While the desert isn't a place to be afraid of, it does have its share of bizarre and creepy happenings. Keep up with me till the end for more. This is it. The desert is a lonely environment, owing to its size and the fact that there isn't much inside of it. Due to the severe conditions, few people live in deserts, thus, there's no compelling incentive to visit one unless you're a sand aficionado. Deserts, on the other hand, can serve a useful purpose as a repository for interesting history. Archaeologists adore deserts because they serve as a repository for a wealth of ancient history that has been buried beneath the earth. However, the desert is home to a variety of other creatures. As previously noted, the desert is a lonely environment, which means it may be eerie at any time of day, but especially at night. The level of mystery that pervades the desert is enough to give anyone shivers. The desert is thought to be home to many fabled animals, but how many have ever been seen? You might be surprised by a few of the items on this list. While the desert isn't a place to be afraid of, it does have its share of bizarre and creepy happenings. Many people believe that aliens communicate with us through the desert sand, just like they do with wheat fields. Why not, given the vast amount of sand visible from above by planes? While none of this is confirmed, it adds to the creepiness of seeing bizarre things written in the sand of the desert. The strange desert lady. One late night, a man driving his car down a desert route came across something peculiar. He came to a halt in front of what appeared to be a humanoid creature hunched over. Fearing that someone was harmed, he flashed his brights and inquired if they needed assistance. Slowly, the figure began to bend toward the man. The individual appears to be wearing a long white dress and has long black hair. As the figure approaches, the man begins to fear for his life. While teasing the beast, he decides to put his truck in reverse. A loud moan can be heard after it picks up speed and starts limping towards the man. The man is horrified, and he begins to scream. Many people believe this creature is a witch or an angry spirit with a powerful manifestation. Its identification has remained a mystery to this day. Skulls of 13-horned kangaroos. This bizarre kangaroo skull was discovered in Australia's Nullarbor Desert. This wasn't the only instance of this. They discovered what seemed to be a burial place for weird kangaroos. According to the archaeologists, the unusual lumps above the eyes, which resembled horns, were the most noticeable feature of the kangaroo skulls. The rest of the skeletons were found intact, and archaeologists claim the kangaroos possessed unusual burrowing claws that typical kangaroos don't have. The putative horns turned out to be more like eye protectors after further investigation. Scientists are still trying to find out what kind of creature the remains belong to since they are too distinct from those of a kangaroo. The giant Merry Man's mysterious origins. News.com.au is the source for this information. A big drawing may be found in the desert near Adelaide, Australia. A hunter with a stick is depicted in the painting. The bizarre find wasn't discovered until the late 1980s, and it was only discovered when a plane flew over it. Everyone's concentration was on the question of why and how the monster got there. The initial suspect was a man named Bardius Goldberg. He claimed he wanted one of his designs enlarged to the point where it could be viewed from space. However, this suits the plot. There's no evidence that he's connected to the enormous drawing. Many residents are now claiming responsibility in the hopes of claiming the renown that comes with it, but no one can be certain. Strange Egyptian desert cones. For years, a bizarre phenomenon in Egypt's deserts would perplex people all around the world. When people initially spotted this weird phenomenon in 2014 using Google Maps, it revealed a bizarre muck of rocks and sand that formed cone-like forms in a distinctive style. The pattern itself covered an astonishing 1,000,000 feet, including a 100-foot diameter centerfold. Many individuals jumped to the conclusion that this was an extraterrestrial situation. Many people believe that no human being could make anything so massive and flawless. Crop circles seen in wheat fields were compared to it. However, much to the dismay of many, the unusual formation turned out to be a work of art. It took several years to complete and was completed in 1997. Towns that have been abandoned in the middle of nowhere. Taringa is the source of this information. It's unsettling enough to come across an abandoned house or structure. When you arrive across an abandoned town, it's much creepier. What about a desert town that has been abandoned? This small 5-building village was located in the middle of nowhere, which makes it much creepier. It only has a few dwellings, all of which have been abandoned for quite some time. It was most likely in use a few decades ago, but it failed due to its location. It appears to be a good place to hide things or check out for urban explorers. These structures could be hiding historical antiquities just waiting to be discovered. However, given that it is located in the middle of a desert, good luck finding it. The Clown Motel. Someone had to add clowns to the mix, as if regular roadside motels weren't spooky enough. Yes, this location does exist, and it's right in the middle of the Nevada desert. The motel is reasonably priced, at about $50 per night. This will grant you access to rooms of mediocre quality that overlook a cemetery. As if this place couldn't be much creepier, there's a graveyard. Perhaps it's a zombie clown motel, with all of the clowns buried there. The foyer of the motel is crammed with glazed-eyed clown dolls, whose eyes seem to be following you around. In case you forgot about this fevered dream of a motel you were staying in, every door to your room has a little clown painted on it. Prada stores that have been abandoned. Prada boutiques are frequently visited in high-end locations, such as malls in major cities. Would you believe there's one in the desert, though? It's not a part of a larger mall. Instead, it's a lone Prada store in the desert. It's more of an artwork than a store, thus it's not truly a store. That explains where it came from, but it doesn't explain why. Even still, it would be fairly spooky if you happen to come upon this knockoff Prada store in the middle of the night. On the inside, there are some boot and purse displays along the back walls, but the room is mostly deserted. It's creepy enough, but what's even creepier is that the store only sells right-footed shoes. Mysterious radioactive oasis. No one knows why a fascinating oasis in the Tunisian desert changes hues. The oasis will occasionally turn bright, lovely colors, only to show a sludge-like green the next hour. Many people assume the oasis was radioactive because of the change in hues, yet they nevertheless decided to swim in it. After people swam in the oasis, it showed no signs of being radioactive, and scientists assume it's either rainwater accumulating or seismic activity. However, none of this appears to explain the lake's unusual hue changes. In any case, even if it's almost certain it's not radioactive, we wouldn't recommend swimming in it. Yard of whale bones. It may seem weird to see a whale graveyard in the desert, yet it happened. A big number of whales washed up on the beach in a Chilean desert and buried themselves in the sand, only to expire there. Many people believed that the desert was formerly part of the ocean, and that it had receded, but this theory was debunked. The most likely explanation is that the whales ate a toxic plant or algae and died as a result of washing up on the beach. Imagine discovering large bones only to discover that they are whale bones. The archaeologists probably thought they were sitting on a gold mine of dinosaur bones, only to discover it was just a regular whale. Strange rock formations from Egypt's past. When most people think of Egypt, they probably picture a desert scene. That's understandable, given that Egypt is primarily desert, but it also has a rich past. This is why Egypt attracts a large number of archaeologists, as history is actually unearthed on a daily basis. Naphtaliya, a site where Egyptians are thought to have practiced astronomy, is a part of this history. The location is made up of a group of upright stones known as the Calendar Circle. According to historians, it looks similar to Stonehenge and is sure to be a fascinating place to visit. To witness the old ideas of those who have a common curiosity in what lies beyond the earth. While we don't believe they got very far with rocks, it's fascinating to observe how early astronomers worked. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like and comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't and turn on the post notification. Stay tuned for more.